Greetings to the choral community around South Africa and beyond, and to the Choral Mag TV viewers and the Choral Mag TV subscribers around the world. My name is Tabe Matsebatlela, and I'm the choir conductor of University of Limpopo Choristers, and also the Associate Professor of Biochemistry at the University of Limpopo. I'm glad to share our story, our journey with the choir, and my journey with you. I'm the second-born son of Motlato and Mashile Matsebatlela, and my father being a pastor, now a retired bishop of the Lutheran Church, and my mother being a retired high school teacher. I'm in a family of siblings of 6, so I'm the second-born son with 3 brothers, the one being the elder, Emmanuel, and Peter and Mohoto being the other 2 brothers, and Tabitha and Elisa being the last 2 sisters, and with Tabitha being the 3rd born in the family. So you can imagine how big the family is, and with all the accolades and academic achievements, and coming together and quarreling and having a good talk over a piece of meat and a good drink, it becomes a wonderful family. And my mother always, my father being the bishop, will always take advantage of him, blessing every evening gathering with a song which ends with a formal blessing. So my mother was a prolific singer in the choir. My father was a prolific singer in the choirs. And we all grew up listening to the Lutheran church choirs as we lived in the parsonages, as my father moved from one church to the other. And we will be part of all these choirs all the time as we move. And as a result, we all become musicians in our own right. We all become part of a choir. As I was growing up, moving from my primary school, Mawa, going to Hapani, Mohadi Law Primary School, and then to Westphalia in around Devil's Kloof, near Zanin, and which is where we are based now, which is where my parents are, and me being at the University of Limpopo in Interlude, and all the other brothers being in Gauteng, and with my sister only here in Polokwane, and the other sister already in Sweden by marriage and by profession. I am the second born who was locked down with the parents during lockdown, and what an experience it was. Every single night of music, and every single night ending with a blessing, and all the children, 3 children and my wife, joining in with my 2 parents. And every night was a musical affair. And that's who I am, and that's how we grew up, and that's what we were taught. And I continued with this in the primary school, in the high school, in the church, participating in church choirs, participating in primary school choirs, in high school choirs. And even when I came to the University of Limpopo, I became part of the University of Limpopo choir. It was formerly known as the University of the North, and the University of the North Choral at the time. But then I had to leave and pursue studies in science, in PhD in cancer research. And that is where I began to learn even more about music. Actually, when I came back midway through my studies, my father was even scared that did he go there for a science degree or did he go there for a music degree? Because on my academic record, there were more music courses than science courses. But yes, it was like that. I thought that there is no way I am going to divorce music. The first thing I did when I arrived in Clemson in USA, in South Carolina State, was to look for the director of choral music. And my, oh my, that was the first step of many things to come. I met a wonderful man by the name of Dr. Chris Matthews. Since 2006, when I arrived at Clemson in South Carolina, and I knocked on his door and inquired about choir activities, we have been friends and music colleagues even to date, to the extent that his choir might actually visit us next year. He has been in South Africa for some time. I have brought the choir and and singers to USA to meet him. Immortalizing our local composers has always been at the heart of the University of Limpopo Choristers, and we are glad that choir groups like the Bela, the Flutes, have taken a journey to start a process of singing the music and recording the music of Dr. Ezio Kosa. And the Dr. Ezio Kosa NPC, led by Captain Kabe and Commissioner Ngobeni, have done wonderful job, wonderful annual events, estate forts and gala dinner events, educating people about the music of Dr. Ezio Kosa and his teachings. The Ezio Kosa family opening their doors, sharing their father, their husband, his life with us. And we have learned quite a lot from his music, and we continue to share the music of Ezio Kosa with the youth, with our community, so that his teachings and his life is understood by all, and the messages that come from it can filter down to the list of the community members. Maybe our composers will not be forgotten. Our composers will remain alive beyond the grave. So it has been our journey, our yearning. And these 3 albums that all received summer nominations, Matimba Wimbeleri, Africa Tebule, Africa Celebrates, all were of the music of Dr. Ezio Kosa. And thanks to Dr. Ruel Kosa, the brother by choice of Ezio Kosa, who has financed all these recordings, who has taken the choir to all these musical studios, accommodated them in all these venues, and sat in all the recording sessions, gave his wisdom and advice and his interactions with Dr. Ezio Kosa and Dr. Ruel Kosa. We can never thank you enough for being part of the University of Limpopo Choristers. Together with the university management, Professor Mukhalong has been quite a big supporter of the choir, and through all these recordings has been supporting us through and making sure that they become a reality. And when each of them received a summer nomination, we were all proud, because immortalizing our local heroes was finally achieved and accomplished. So my date with the University of Limpopo started in 1994 when I had just matriculated from Hapane High School and joined the University of Limpopo to study medical sciences. And when I arrived here, I became a spectator of the University of the North Choral. At the time, it was still called the University of the North. After completion of my medical science degree, I joined the Department of Biochemistry to pursue a Master of Science degrees in biochemistry. And by then, I was already a member of the university choir and singing baritone. But then when I had to leave to Clemson, when I arrived at Clemson University on a Fulbright scholarship, I was thankful of Fulbright for allowing me to pursue musical studies. So I had to take musical programs and musical courses in piano, in voice, in choir, in conducting, all sorts of things that you can think of in music. Because I thought when I go back to South Africa, there is a choir at the university, and there is a choir that will need my services. And what I see here is something that the choir can benefit from. And I would like to pass this knowledge to someone else. I would like to learn as much as I can. And that is where my mentorship with Dr. Chris Matthews, who mentored my musical career when I was in Clemson and beyond, traveled over 20 states in the USA, listening to musicians, professional composers, professional conductors, choirs from high school to university, and him walking all the stages with me and describing different sections of music, different ways of composing, different ways of conducting, different ways of interacting with the choir, different ways of conducting a choir rehearsal, an effective choir rehearsal. And when I came back to South Africa, it was seamless that when I joined the university choir, I became a member who wanted to see things moving on. The yearning for a formal choral music program continues at the University of Limpopo. And importantly, the university management was quite supportive. The university management has been behind the choir for some time and continue to support the choir even beyond. We have been in situations where the choir would grow from small stages and the university choir will be patient with us. And we will start planning from 5 years ago, from 6 years ago, from 10 years ago, and we want to see change. So since 2010, it has been quite a journey to win the first South African choral music of inter-university competition, Satika, in 2017, to win the first trophy in 2013 at the inter-university music competitions, to win the first trophy at the National Choir Festival, to win some trophies at the local Limpopo Choral Music Estate for LICMA. It has been quite a journey. In this journey, I have seen first-year students, second-year students grow from strength to strength to become prolific soloists who traveled even outside their borders to display their vocal epilogues and their vocal abilities, and mentoring these soloists, mentoring this choir, mentoring new conductors. When we went to Satika last year, I had to sit down and watch the young conductors conduct, see if what I have transferred in the soloists, in the musicians, in the conductors is working. And I was glad to see the University of Limpopo claiming the top stage with the young conductors conducting and me sitting down. And that is what I was yearning for all these years, that we should have female young conductors, male young conductors. We should have young soloists displaying their skills. And that is what we are about. That is what my duty is in the choir, to find talent, develop talent, find opportunities for that talent, and watch that talent grow. And that is where we are. That is where we are taking this choir to. And we are glad to the likes of the former Chancellor of the University of Limpopo, Dr. Ruel Koza, who has not only been a member of this university community for a long time after Nelson Mandela, the former Chancellor of the University of Limpopo, he took over as the Chancellor. And not only has he taken over as a prolific beneficiary of the University of Limpopo and a prolific leader. The University of Limpopo Choristers has always enjoyed singing the music of the local composers and the even emerging composers. We were also privileged to visit Baru SBP Munomia. May his soul rest in peace. We have lost a stalwart, a well-rounded off musician and composer. And we visited him in 2013, and he gave us a musical journey. We opened our eyes to a different aspect of music. And as he talked about his compositions and what he thinks of music, we began to learn a new musical lesson. He paid us a visit in Limpopo later on when he visited at the University of Venda. And the choir once more interacted with him. And we also sang his songs during our first Satika Championship in 2017, just 3 years ago, where he was also adjudicating, and even afterwards interacted with the choir and enjoyed the performances of the choir. And as the choir was also handed the championship that year of Satika 2017, and we were thankful of the conversations we had with Babu Mumia. And we continue to do that with other composers that we have alive and that have passed on. And it is the yearning from the University of Limpopo Choristers that we begin to celebrate our composers, immortalize our composers as much as we understand more about our Baroque, our classical, our Romantic era music composers. We should also embrace our musical journeys by learning more about our composers and immortalizing their life and immortalizing their music.
Oh benedictus, qui venit in nomine Domini, in nomine Domini.
My simple message to fellow choral music lovers and choral music clinicians or practitioners and choral composers and leaders of entities around the country is a difficult one. Simple but yet difficult. We have 9 provinces. We have various racial divides. We have various cultural backgrounds. We have a rich music and a rich musical journey and a rich history to share with the world. But we have small pockets of entities, small pockets of musical excellence. If we can bring all these musical excellence institutes together and have one united voice, one front that can attract solid sponsorship, that can attract recognition at national level, all these other entities of excellence will be fully recognized if we can make one single platform that all these entities, all these pockets of excellence can come together, share their musical journey, share their musical experiences, share their cultural backgrounds. We have a platform where sponsorships can start investing in, where government can start looking at using that entity to unite the country. Music is a powerful entity. Music has started in the church, has made South Africa what it is today, and music can be recognized for what it is. And choral music has been the co-founder, the founder, the co-founder, the establishment, and the basis of our democracy and what South Africa is today. So let us use a united front. It is a difficult one because it might be difficult to move away from a comfort zone. And understanding our different choral tones, our choral understandings, our choral expressions, but we need to begin to share this to become a united front because we are truly blessed as South Africa. We are truly blessed as our nation. And our sons and daughters will become even much more enriched when us as leaders, when us as conductors step on the stage and speak one voice of unity, a united South Africa.
Thank